Good evening and welcome to Camelot's 11th annual Starry Nights fundraising gala. This year's theme, We Are All Camelot, resonates very strongly with me because truer words have never been spoken. The sum of the parts are indeed greater than the whole. It's the combined efforts of each and every one of you here tonight that makes the Camelot program the exceptional program that she is today. You will have the best experience tonight if you open our auction site up on a second device. That way you won't miss a moment of our presentation and you won't miss an opportunity to bid or participate in Fund to Need. Instructions for opening the silent auction site are crawling across the screen, or you can use the QR code with your phone and just scan it. It should take you directly to the site. And while you're watching our event, would you please hit share? This will greatly increase our audience and improve our efforts in this fundraiser. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors and every single one that has contributed a silent auction item. To those of you that participated in various ways by buying our virtual tickets, our prize packs, purchased stars, or participated in Fund to Need. Thank you very much for your participation. We're very grateful. So to talk about the future of Camelot, I must first tell you where we came from. Camelot was founded in 1980 and incorporated as a 501c3 organization in 1983 by a woman named Eileen Shahusky. Eileen, a horsewoman with a disability, created the Camelot program as a likeness to a facility where she rode in Santa Cruz, California called Dragon Slayers and under Joseph Rivers. She spent 7 years studying with Joseph, and it was during that time that the dream of Camelot really took shape. When Eileen moved to Arizona in 1983, she brought with her 2 horses that were gifted to her from Joseph. In exchange, all he asked of her was that she give the services away just as she had received them while riding in his program. Today, we are still honoring that pledge. For over 37 years, we have never charged our families a single penny for the services that they receive. But that doesn't mean we're a free ride. Camelot students are expected to give back to the community in some way in exchange for the services that they have received. So many do so by mentoring new riders coming into the program. And in that way, the teachings at Camelot really come full circle. We have set our fundraising goal tonight at $80,000, and as you can see, we are well on our way. Throughout the evening, we'll have plenty of opportunities for you to give, because this is, after all, a fundraiser. At the end of the evening, we're also going to be sharing an encore presentation of our inspiring 2019 Starry Nights keynote presentation. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. John Ames and Ames Construction have been supporters of the Camelot program for many, many years. Every year, they've hosted a fabulous Halloween as well as a holiday party. They always give every student an overflowing gift bag that includes a very generous gift card, which has, for more than one student, completely taken care of everyone on their shopping list for the holidays. So you can imagine how disappointed they were because of COVID circumstances when the Halloween party had to be canceled. Well, last week I got a phone call from the lovely Deanne Kimes, John's administrative assistant, and she said, "This year we are bringing Halloween to you." And bring it they did. They brought decorations. The tack room has a gorgeous tree with ornaments. They brought gift bags for all of the students. In the bags were t-shirts that had Halloween decorations. They made masks, and they also had gift cards for each and every student. Now that's philanthropy. John, Ames Construction, thank you so much for your generosity all these years. So 2020 has been a year like no other. The COVID pandemic has caused issues globally, and Camelot has not been immune to the impact. That being said, I'm very happy to tell you that we opened on schedule this year, just like we have for the past 37 years. Because safety is our #1 priority, we spent months in preparation. And when we opened our gates to our families, we were prepared. Everyone on site is wearing masks. We maintain safe spacing. All equipment is disinfected in between lessons. We're checking temperatures and asking those health screening questions. And once again, the barn is filled with laughter and we're having fun. Opening to service this year did require some changes, as well as thinking outside of the box. We've implemented our opening in 2 phases, which has our more independent riders in saddle, while the other students are enjoying ground lessons. They're getting horse time. They're doing a variety of different activities. But as you can imagine, horseback riding is a sport that requires our students and instructors to be in close proximity. And for most of our students, a whole lot of person-to-person contact, something we are really trying to avoid right now. But what I have discovered is that by bringing a parent or a family member into the rider team, we can have more activities and a hands-on horse time than we could without their help. The end result is more smiles all the way around, and the magic that is Camelot continues. So over the course of the evening, I'll be introducing you to the Camelot team. We are a small and mighty staff dedicated to serving our mission and changing the world one ride at a time. Okay, so Patter, does she need a bath?
It's more like Phil needed a bath.
Lots of dust on there. She loves being dusty. So now that you've seen a very dusty Ashley, I would like to introduce you to our 4-legged instructors. I can't see the. Yeah, I can't see the screen. So the screen that's in front of me is a slight delay. Oh, you saw Cliffy. I think that my feed is a smidge behind yours, but one by one, our 4-legged instructors are crossing the screen. We've got Cliffy, Ashley, Frisco, Junior, K2, and Rusty, and Barbara. Thank you, Ray, for helping me. Now I would like to have an opportunity to introduce you to some of the Camelot staff that was not able to be here tonight. Robin Ehrlich is Camelot's part-time office manager. She began as a volunteer and assumed her current position in 2006. Robin enjoys time with her horse Gizzy, her dog Kramer, and she's a very avid mahjong player. Kathy Gorham is Camelot's weekend ranch hand. In addition to tending to the horses, which she absolutely loves, Kathy has also spent many, many hours in the afternoon volunteering with students. I'd also like to give a shout out to one of the volunteer committee members. I really wanted to acknowledge everyone, but in the interest of time, I decided I was going to have to cull it down to just those volunteers that have been with Camelot for more than 30 years. Thank you, Shirley Lohman, for your dedication to our noble cause. So many of you have met the magnificent K2. He was purchased with funds generously donated by K2 Adventures Foundation, and he is a beautiful 16-3 hand-high Percheron Belgian draft cross, and he's the largest horse in our barn. He weighs over 1,400 pounds and wears out shoes faster than an NBA forward. Routine pedicures take place every 8 weeks for this boy. As you can imagine, with 8 horses, they all have very different farrier needs. Some are barefoot, some need specialty shoeing. Cliffy managed to pull off half of his hoof wall one year, and it took an entire year of growing out a new hoof and hours of dedication and work with the farrier and with one of our vets, Dr. Jamie Foley. The work that these guys do is tremendous. It keeps our horses healthy. You know the saying, no hoof, no horse. So right now I'd like to ask you to go to your the auction site. On page 3, we have a list of our fund and need items. And why don't you help us out? Because baby needs new shoes. You can pick up those devices and start making those contributions. Oh my goodness, it's the event is happening. Gary Raymond, thank you so much for your $1,000 contribution. Thank you, thank you. That's going to put shoes on all our babies for several farrier rounds. Lots of pedicures can happen. Thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh, when I look at our fundraising total, we are well on our way to hitting that marker. All right. Right now, I would like to introduce my co-host. I have the beautiful Sasha Graham here with me tonight. It's a small event team here on site as we do this live event. Please help me welcome Miss Sasha Graham. I would be remiss if I didn't say that lucky was the day when Sasha came through the gates of Camelot to volunteer back in 2012. She has been instrumental in our fundraising efforts ever since. The financial impact that she personally has had on this program is absolutely remarkable. Welcome, Sasha.
Thank you so much, Mary. And I just want to say to everybody out there that we can see your comments coming through. I see that Nancy is out there and Peg is out there. Lynn, I saw your comment. Alicia and Sarah, your comment about celebrating tonight is very, very well taken. We are a small but mighty crew. We're being very careful up here, but we are celebrating because this is a very, very special night for us. So if you haven't found your way to our silent auction site yet, please use the address on the screen, camelotaz.org/SK2020. The auction closes tonight at 7:30, but if you would rather just make a donation, we have lots of ways for you to do that there too. So for everyone who has already donated and purchased stars and prize packs, we are so grateful. This is Camelot's 37th lesson season, which is incredibly impressive in and of itself. But in addition to that, Mary has been with the program for 18 years, Hannah has been with the program for 10 years, and the wonderful Michelle Guerrero, who was the previous lead riding instructor, was with Camelot for 14 years. Plus, all of us volunteers tend to stay forever. The program was founded by Aline Shahusky in 1983, and stay with me here, but when I was watching Hamilton the other night, it struck me that for things to last, they need a really solid foundation. And that's certainly something that Eileen did. You can read a lot more about Eileen and the program on the website, but one of the genius things that Eileen did was to create the Camelot Creed. The Creed really describes each of the pillars of the Camelot program, and it's something that everyone at Camelot continues to work and live by today. It is just incredibly powerful, and it goes like this. We believe dreams are essential to life, and the right to risk belongs to all of us. We commit ourselves to slaying the dragons of doubt in ourselves and others. We believe the world is changed one life at a time. We dedicate ourselves to a program designed for the individual, wherein quality will always be placed before quantity. We believe persons with disabilities should be in control of their own lives. We pledge ourselves to a program where disabled people govern themselves and a learning model based on mentorship. We believe freedom and dignity are priceless. Success can only be kept when given away. We commit ourselves to a Camelot which will always be free of charge, other than the commitment to become a contributor to our community. We believe life is a round table, wherein each member is both student and teacher. We pledge to build in each other the knightly virtues of courage, loyalty, compassion, honor, justice, generosity, and faith. We believe in the philosophy of Camelot. which calls on each of us to rise to our highest good. We embrace the quest and dedicate ourselves to a quality of life with programs that offer opportunities to dream, to risk, to love, and to serve. Another one of the very cool things that Eileen did was to launch the Camelot Chronicles, which is the twice-yearly newsletter that goes out to the Camelot community. I went through more than 30 years of back issues of the Camelot Chronicles recently, and in reading them, I could really see all of these pillars of Camelot reflected in the stories, and I could hear the voices of so many of the people who have passed through Camelot's beautiful gates. So since Starry Nights is about honoring both the past and the future of Camelot, I would like to read a few of these stories for you tonight. The first one is from winter 1990, and it was written by Eileen Shahusky herself. It's called When I Grow Up, I Want to Be. Childhood should be the best time of our lives, a safe, carefree time before we begin to shoulder the responsibilities and disappointments of adult life in a modern world. Pain and isolation were never part of the original blueprint for childhood. Yet for so many kids, disability and chronic illness force an abrupt end to innocence. Children are amazingly resilient and courageous, however often taking care of their parents' and physicians' feelings of grief and powerlessness. That's partly because children live in the perfect now. It's a place where their trust carries them through. Many of the students and animals at Camelot have had their childhoods invaded by disease and disability. Having done time themselves in hospitals and clinics, they know the importance of maintaining relationships with the outside world. That's why Sir Prancelot Pony, Heckle Duck, Sir Frizzle and his wife, Sybil Chicken, have taken their visiting critters on the road to places such as Phoenix Children's Hospital. These critters and the students and volunteers who make up the Visiting Critters team get a kick out of bringing barnyard animals through town to the hospital. The caring staff at PCH know that it's not only fun, but necessary to break the rules now and then. Quacking, clucking, and whinnying are healing sounds and do belong in the infirmary. On the more serious side, sharing our gifts through community service is a requirement of Camelot students. By sharing with others, we heal ourselves. No matter how young or old they are, the sight of a child with tubes, IVs, and precious faces distorted by chemotherapy and anti-rejection drugs cannot fail to move you. These visits stir us to the depths of our being, remind us about the importance of being together in that perfect now, which, as children, are wise enough to know is all any of us ever has. Vasant Garcia is a 15-year-old visually impaired Camelot student and great duck wrangler, who is much wiser than she knows. Following one of our hospital visits, Vasant quietly observed, "Not all of those children are going to grow up, are they?" She realized that growing up with a disability is difficult, to say the least, but it beats not growing up at all. Let's make sure we make the most of our perfect now. We can begin by letting someone else know they're important to us. Whew. So I think this one really resonated with me for obvious reasons, because many of us are really struggling right now. Things that were easy before feel really difficult, and things that were difficult can feel downright impossible. Eileen's reminder that there's always joy to be found and that we need to make the most of our perfect now feels especially relevant. So Mary, one of the things that I've really been looking forward to tonight is the chance to ask you about some of these pillars of the Camelot Creed that are so integral to the program. So the first one is this idea of the right to risk. In the Creed, it reads, "We believe dreams are essential to life and the right to risk belongs to us all." This was something that really impressed me when I first arrived at Camelot, and it was a concept that I hadn't really considered before. Can you talk about it a little bit and why it's so important to have this as part of the Camelot program?
Absolutely. Let me ask you a quick question, Sasha. Have you ever gone zip lining?
I have.
Have you ever gone rock climbing?
I have.
Okay, so when you went to those places and went into the offices to sign your liability releases and begin the activity, did you have any challenges or any problems pop up?
Nope.
Were you ever told no?
No.
You couldn't participate? Well, that's unfortunately that's something that our students hear all the time. And so, people forget that because someone has a disability, that doesn't mean that they don't have a desire to feel the wind in their face, to feel their heart beat and exhilaration and excitement. But sadly, often they are told no. And so here at Camelot, we are very cognizant of our riders' right to risk, and we work very hard to provide safe services. But as anyone that is an equestrian knows, that as those skills are mastered and as you learn more, you ultimately risk more. So we do our best, and we provide the safest place for our students to explore that risk, and we don't say no.
It is interesting, isn't it, that we take that for granted, this idea that we can go out and we can take risks and it's our body. But I remember talking to a young student named Derek for one of the keynote videos, and he told me people used to always treat me with kid gloves. They wouldn't let me try anything because it was dangerous. And he said, and then I got to Camelot and they let me try things, which was such a cool concept.
Yeah, it actually happened, the same concept, the same thing happened to Eileen, our founder. She went to the Grand Canyon. She had registered to go on a mule ride, and she showed up with her friends, and she was told no. So her friends rode down the canyon, and she kept herself busy and entertained, and asked to talk to this person and that person, and kept climbing up the ladder of people that be at the canyon. And before they left, she was actually offered a job, and she was very instrumental in affecting change and opening up access to people of the Grand Canyon. But she too was told no.
I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful history of the program, and it really speaks to her tenacity, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely.
So another concept and another one of the pillars of Camelot is this idea of quality over quantity. That Camelot typically has about 24 students on the schedule, and this is smaller than some other programs. Mm-hmm. Why is that, and why is that important?
Well, the size and the scope, and granted, some students fare very well and are better suited in a group format where they can watch and interact with peers in saddle. But what we have found is that we really want mastery of skill sets to take place, and that takes time. It takes patience, and it takes a whole lot of repetition. So by offering private instruction or semi-private, having 2 students out per lesson time really allows the Camelot instructors and volunteer team to slow down, not do things for our students, but do activities with our students. Mm-hmm. And so it is that quality, that allowing the time that, quite frankly, I've never seen at any other program.
I remember you telling me once too that it was important for the horses,
mm-hmm.
that for the horses to have a break and to be able to recover, because they really are a key to this entire program.
They are the virtual backbone of our program, and without them we have no program. And it's very typical in the therapeutic riding industry that horses experience burnout, just like people do when they're overworked in jobs. And I'm very proud to say that we don't have that problem at Camelot because of the time that we take. It impacts our students, and it definitely positively impacts all of our horses as well.
So next, this idea, so when I was doing my first ranch hand interview, it was with Michelle Guerrero, and I said, how expensive are the lessons? And she said, oh, Camelot doesn't charge for lessons. It never has. And I said, oh, so you bill insurance. And I was flabbergasted to learn that neither of these things, my assumptions, were true, that Camelot does not bill insurance and does not charge for lessons. Tell me about this, and why is this important?
Well, it's really a twofold answer. We're honoring a pledge, a promise that was made, so we're still doing that today. Eileen promised Joseph that she would never charge any of her students a penny for the services at Camelot. But even more importantly, what people don't realize is by us not charging, that we are actually giving our students the most sincerest, the most honest service possible. I don't have classes and students coming as a source of revenue to keep the program going. So maybe I've got a young rider who doesn't actually enjoy horses. Maybe the environment is causing issues, runny noses, maybe they have allergies, or they just tactilely, they just really can barely tolerate the sensations that their bodies experience. So having that conversation with the parents saying, you know, I know you love horses and you rode as a child, but your child doesn't. Every single lesson that is offered is truly with the best of heart and services being given to that rider. Money's not a factor.
It really is amazing, and it is amazing, this idea of giving back to the program or to the community. You know, that's how, you know, you give back, is not by paying for your lesson, but actually by giving back in this other way. And finally, that brings us to this idea of mentorship. I met the wonderful Bonner family through the Camelot program, found out later that they're practically my neighbors, and their son Patrick was a student in the program for many years. Of course, most of us know Patrick and know of his amazing achievements, both in the program and since. Amy told me one time about this story. Patrick, I understood, mentored maybe a couple different riders during his time here, a couple different students. And she told me a story about Hooves and Heroes, and it was before my time, but where Patrick and a girl named Andrea, who he had mentored, rode together. Can you tell me about that?
It was a great lesson season, and to be honest, it was a program and a ride that the pair worked on almost the entire lesson season. So for those that have never met Patrick, he has cerebral palsy, and his ability to control speech and to project his voice is very difficult. He talks quickly, and he's not always easy to hear what he is saying. And Andrea, who he was coaching and mentoring, survived a stroke in utero, incurred a very severe brain injury, and her primary disability is her blindness. She has no sight at all. And so watching this pair, watching Patrick work with her week after week in saddle while first they had to create their pattern, and then they had to practice their pattern. And the two worked together. It was absolutely amazing watching it come together. And then imagine we're out in the arena and we have all of these guests in the barn, and the energy is high, and we're all like, oh, please let it go as planned. And it was just amazing. Patrick called out to Andrea. She relies on sighted guides. If she's on foot, she has a cane, and she still needs typically a sighted person to assist her. And he just sat up tall and he spoke to her. She could hear him, and he guided her through the entire pattern. And there was not a dry eye in the house on that afternoon.
It really does illustrate why mentorship is so important, right? That it isn't just for Andrea and it isn't just for Patrick, that there's something that happens there in that relationship that is really important and unique. And I think that again, is one of the really special things about Camelot that we hear about a lot. And it's been around forever, as we're going to hear, because next we are going to go into our next excerpt from the Camelot Chronicles, and this one is from fall and winter of 1999, and it's called Mentoring Keeps Magic Alive. So this one is actually in 3 parts. The first one is by Eileen Shahusky, the second one is by Gail Elaine Irons, and then the third one is by a teen mentor, it's very short, by Amy Butterfield. So this part, Mentoring Keeps Magic Alive, by Eileen Shahusky. Those of us who believe in miracles know that the best way to hold on to such experiences is to give them away. Such is Camelot's philosophy, which is why we have always offered our program at no cost to those we serve. Instead, we ask that our students contribute something of themselves to the program to keep the pot full. One of the most powerful ways our advanced riders give back is to become a mentor to a newer student. Being a mentor is a profound experience. It grants one immortality. For it is a known fact that we change the world one life at a time. Best of all, you don't need to be old or even an expert to be a mentor. We have some excellent teen mentors. A mentor is unselfish and above all, a believer in possibilities. In this issue, 2 of our mentors share their experiences. Enjoy. Mentoring Mallory by Gail Elaine Irons. Having been privileged to be a Camelot student for 3 seasons, 92 to 95, as a birthday treat, I returned to visit in January of 1998. That was my first experience of the new facility. I was captivated. I asked Eileen if she could use another volunteer. She asked, "Would you?" And I replied, "Can I?" I figured I'd mostly be doing grooming and odd jobs. Certainly, such tasks have been part of my duties, like putting braille labels everywhere I could think of. However, my primary responsibilities have been mentoring a young writer named Mallory, whose vision seems much like mine. Come to think of it, that holds true not only in terms of sight impairment, but also with regard to our attitudes about living life to the fullest. We have been working together a year and a half, and we've both learned a lot, working on ground skills, terminology, chicken wrangling, etc. Inevitably, these activities have improved my own knowledge and skills. I finally got a firm grasp on how to tie a quick-release knot, a deceptively simple and essential equestrian task that played cat and mouse with me for years. Haltering has been another big challenge for us. If you've never picked up a halter with your eyes closed, try it sometime. See if you can get all the parts in proper alignment and keep them that way long enough to get the horse's nose through and the strap buckled, with no twists. While thinking about ways to make the process easier for my charge, I discovered nuances of that piece of tack that I'd never noticed before. After much trial and error, those insights enabled me to devise an approach that works well. Mallory is exuberant. Her favorite interjection is "Hallelujah!" She's very good at picking up verbal concepts and writing skills. Imparting certain groundwork concepts and skills has been tough sometimes, perhaps because she would rather be riding than grooming. She makes me think, asking why and what would happen if. Such inquiries lead to talks about horse psychology and often boil down to because that's the way they are. My favorite lesson was on conformation. We visited Jake, Fastlane, and Sterling. In each case, we felt their legs and feet, their girth, their faces, taking special note of nostrils and whiskers. We also leaned against them, feeling them breathe and hearing their guts gurgle. When I attended Jake's retirement celebration, it occurred to me that each Camelot herd member is a mentor. However, that sounded too anthropomorphic, so I coined the term equitor. Their equine ways are what endear them to us. With experience, they become sages, with a great deal to teach those who listen to them. The Hallelujah Kid often asks about teaching horses to speak as humans do. I try to convey that they do indeed talk in their own eloquent ways. It is said that a child begins like a blank piece of paper, on which each passerby writes. Helping Mallory write her story has been a gift to me. The final piece in this section is by Amy Butterfield, who's a teen mentor, and it's called Being a Mentor. My experience as a mentor has taught me a lot of things, including great responsibilities. Sydney, my student, has encouraged me to be brave and try new experiences. When I was watching Sydney take Acapulco from a walk to a canter, she encouraged me to do the same. Not only is Sydney a great student, she is a great friend as well. So next I have the profound honor of introducing our keynote video. But before that, I am getting a note that says that our very good friend and Camelot supporter Ginger Berry has just donated $2,500. So I would like to thank Ginger and everyone who has contributed so far. And we love watching that thermometer go up. So Starry Nights is always one of my favorite nights of the year, and it's because I get to see all of these people who I care about so much, and I see them exactly one night a year. One of those people, Mary mentioned Gary Raymond. He is literally someone, maybe I might see him up here at Hose and Heroes, but once a year is usually what I get. We are missing him very much tonight. He does an excellent job at this every year, but I would also like to give a little shout out to our very good friend Ray Klein, who is doing an exceptional job producing this night tonight, which hasn't been easy. So when we realized that tonight's event would be virtual, I really started thinking about this idea that we each carry a little piece of Camelot with us, and that it's all of our contributions that make Camelot the magical place that it is. And it occurred to me that we are all Camelot. So we decided to, in our way, bring people here to the ranch when they can't be here. So that was the inspiration for this year's keynote video. Please enjoy.
This is where I come to overcome. This is where I feel like I belong. This is one of those transcending spaces. This is where I feel my life is stable. This is where I'm welcome at the table. This is where I'm not just one of many faces. When my soul needs something more, this is where my heart will soar. This is where my heart will soar. This is where I find nobility, where I discover my ability to rise to the challenges life has placed before me. This is where I find my family. This is where I find I'm truly free, surrounded by the people who adore me. When my soul needs something more, this is where my heart will soar. This is where my heart will soar. When I need to push my limits, getting stronger by the minute, I walk through that open door. This is where my heart will soar. 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 This is where I come to find myself. This is where I come to offer help. This is where I'm not just one of many faces.
And I'm always struck by the profound impact that the Camelot program has on the lives of its students and their loved ones. The physical, the social, and the emotional benefits of this remarkable
She lost
program
audio.
just cannot be overstated.
Which one?
That's really why we're all here tonight. Sorry, we were getting a note that maybe we were losing audio, so if you can't hear me, I apologize. But I'm just saying that for our students, that it is a really, really remarkable program for a lot of reasons. And Camelot has been offering these services for 37 years, and we are here tonight to help ensure that we're able to continue to offer these services for many, many years to come. We all have our own reasons for supporting Camelot. I ask you now to consider the students, consider the families that are involved with this incredible program. There are a lot of times in life when you can't do anything to help, but this is not one of those times. So when you visit our auction site at camelotaz.org/sk2020, make your way to the third page. And when you're there, you'll see an option to sponsor a student for $2,000. If you can find it in your heart to make a donation of that size, your impact on Camelot will be felt all season long and far beyond. Mary is holding up a sign to me right now that K2 Adventures Foundation has just made a donation of $2,500. Thank you so much, K2. We are cheering very quietly here in order to not mess up audio. But if a donation of that size isn't in the cards for you right now, we have options at all different levels. And when you give, you can be assured that your support is felt and it is appreciated, and every single contribution helps this remarkable program and its students thrive. Please be sure to share the Facebook Live with your friends as you're watching, so that we can get as many eyeballs on our fundraiser tonight as possible. And I just got another alert that Mark and Diane Prothrow have donated, was it $1,000, Mary? $1,000. So another $1,000 from Mark and Diane Prothrow. Thank you so very, very much. We appreciate it immensely.
Welcome to K2's next adventure. We have a wheelchair accessible carriage generously funded by the Christopher and Dana Reeves Foundation. There are many accessible features about this carriage, and most noticeably is this wheelchair ramp that allows our participant who is using our custom sport wheelchair to enter the vehicle and be escorted all the way up into the driver's seat position, at which point they can actually take the lines and drive the horse. Coming around to the front of the vehicle, you can see the wheelchair safety straps that prevent the chair from moving around. We also have room for a volunteer or staff who is specifically trained in driving, as well as room for a wheelchair attendant to ride along and another participant to be along for the carriage ride as well. Alternatively, we are able to use our automatic Sure Hands lift to lift someone from a wheelchair into the carriage. We are so excited about this new addition to Camelot.
So I hope you enjoyed that video and the introduction to our gorgeous carriage. Earlier, Hannah's not able to be with us tonight. We're keeping our numbers down, but we pre-recorded an interview with her. I want you to have an opportunity to meet all of our certified therapeutic riding instructors this evening. So please, welcome Hannah. I would like to introduce Hannah Briso. She is Camelot's volunteer coordinator and principal riding instructor. She came to us in 2010 as a volunteer and then joined our staff in 2013. When you look at her credentials, it's obvious she is a lover of learning, and she is also certified through PATH as a therapeutic riding instructor as well as a driving instructor. So Hannah, how does your driving certification impact the Camelot program?
Well, what it does is it opens up an opportunity for more students to participate. So we are able to have individuals ride or drive in the carriage or cart that may not be able to, for whatever reason, sit astride a horse. Those students are then able to receive the same physical and emotional benefits that they would if they were in saddle.
Excellent, excellent. By any chance, do you have a favorite memory that involves volunteers or a student?
I do. I do. It involves a student and a volunteer. So we were out a couple of years ago in our outdoor arena with a miniature horse, Cough Drop, and our student Patrick, who uses a power wheelchair. Not all of our lessons involve riding a horse or driving the carriage. We also focus on horsemanship, on caring for the horse, as well as our natural desert surroundings. So we decided that we would take a walk around our property trail. It is completely fenced in on 14 and a quarter acres. So we went. We started down the hard packed dirt trail, and there are a couple of places where we have some sandy washes that cut across that trail. And I looked at that first wash and I looked at Patrick's power wheelchair and I thought, well, if he goes fast enough, he'll make it through. So he put it in high speed and he went for it and he got about halfway in and was not going anywhere else. So we did what any rational group of people and miniature horse would do. We wrote SOS in the sand. We giggled. We looked for snacks in our pockets. And then we contacted Ray. He got the golf cart and a tow strap and actually had to haul Patrick out of that sand. It was so funny, and we still talk about it to this day, and I'm sure it's a memory that Patrick holds dear in his heart.
I remember that day clearly. Hannah, you were truly a valuable asset to Camelot. We are lucky to have you on staff, and our students are even luckier to have you in their lives. Um, Before you tune out, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today?
There is. So we have 8 horses here at Camelot. Those 8 horses eat 3 times per day. We use sometimes up to 2 bales of hay per day, and at $15 a bale, that's a lot of hay. So I'm asking you to please go to our Fund a Need page, take out your second device, scroll down, and support us by purchasing some bales of hay for our horses.
So we've got some wonderful slides that you're going to be able to glance through and see on the screen right now. And as you can see, the horses eat a whole lot of hay. I'm not good about getting 3 meals a day in, but these horses don't miss a meal. So back when COVID first became a reality, we weren't certain what our hay supply was going to be. We have pastures and turnouts, but those turnouts aren't full of lush, deep grass. So we stocked up and we bought 3 months worth of hay that we kept on reserve to be sure we had plenty of hay for our horses. And Junior's pretty happy to be in the stall next to the supply. He regularly just helped himself. Once again, this is a fundraiser, and I'm going to ask you guys to pull out your second devices and go to our Fund a Need page. That's page 3 of our silent auction. And you can go right there and you can help us buy hay for a month. You can buy hay for a year for a horse. Oh! And thank you, Jeff Hare. I just got noticed by the lovely Sasha that you just made a $250 contribution. Thank you very much. That's going to buy a lot of bales of hay. Thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone that's participating tonight. We have so many ways to give, and you, our devoted supporters, are coming in like gangbusters. Thank you very, very much. You know, it occurred to me that if I was going to be given so much slide time and video time to the horses, that I really needed to give my chickens a little bit of time. So those chickens eat a lot of pellets and they eat a lot of fresh greens. If you would like to participate in Fund a Need and make a contribution to our Chicken Hilton, please do so. And I wanted to let you know if you would like a dozen fresh eggs. There are no eggs better than those from the Camelot chickens. Just send me an email, let me know, and I can arrange that for you. You know, the chickens aren't the only wonderful animal out here. Jax, he is our tiniest therapy animal, and he is loved by our students. He's tiny, but I promise you, he sheds more than K2. If you can imagine a 1,400-pound horse and a tiny, tiny little rabbit, he sheds as much as the big guy. You can go to that Fund a Need page, and you can be an underwrite funding for our sweet Jax. I just got a notice from Sasha that Kate Campbell, one of our longtime volunteers, she just made a donation to be applied towards hay for the horses. Thank you, Kate. Appreciate that very much. So without further ado, I think it's important that we keep these interviews going forward. We pre-recorded a video, or an interview, I apologize, with Miss Rebecca Thompson. She is the newest member to the Camelot staff. She joined as staff in 2020. She started as a volunteer like everyone has, and please help me welcome Rebecca Thompson. I would like to introduce Rebecca Thompson. She is Camelot's barn manager and is a certified therapeutic riding instructor. You came to Camelot in 2017, where you were volunteering, and just joined our staff in 2020. Before you came to Camelot, you were actually working at the Phoenix Zoo. Did your time there prepare you for your work at Camelot?
Absolutely. I was a zookeeper for about 5 years, and I actually taught riding and driving lessons with horses while I was there. And I had some wild times at the zoo, but I've also had some wild times at Camelot. Did you guys hear about Patrick and Cough Drop?
Oh yeah, everyone heard that story. Do you have any special memories from Camelot?
The 2018 Starry Nights Gala, Alicia was one of the people being presented, and I was the person that was able to walk up and give her an award. And just seeing how hard she had worked at mentoring other students, and at the time she was still working on getting her PATH certification. So just seeing all of her hard work and being able to be part of it was amazing.
Oh, it was a beautiful night. Have you seen other ways that the Camelot program has influenced students' lives?
Oh yeah, I mean, Camelot really focuses on independence and letting our students make their own choices as much as possible, but also making it okay to ask for help and not being embarrassed if you do need to ask for help.
Let's turn towards your barn management work. Do you think that there are any of the Camelot horses that enjoy their job more than others?
I think they all enjoy it to some degree, but the two that stand out to me the most are K2 and Frisco. K2 just loves attention. Whatever the students want to do with him, he just loves having an audience and loves being involved. Frisco, I've really noticed, just wants to help the students. If they're holding up a bridle, he will put his face in there and he will almost put it on for them. He just wants to help in any way that he can.
I love it. That's great. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
Yes, if you could open up your second device and go to our Fund a Need campaign and look for the helmet section, we can protect our students' noggins.
Thank you.
That was good.
So please enjoy some pictures from our current lesson season. During the course of the year, we receive many donations of used riding clothes from different trainers and stables in the area. Our students love them. Every single one of them stands a little taller when dressed from head to toe as equestrians. There's also a big difference between saying, go to the tack room and get a helmet versus go to the tack room and get your helmet. So right now, if you are feeling so inclined, please go to our Fund a Need page and help us by clicking on the Buy a Helmet for a Noggin. Debbie Griffith, earlier in the evening, we got a nice Fund a Need support from you for buying a helmet. Thank you very much. And Alexis, thank you. Sasha handed me a note saying that you were donated to our Buy Hay. So thank you. We are so appreciative of all of these contributions. Um, when I look at the screen and I see our students enjoying horse time, we're doing our best, we're wearing our masks, our students are smiling. You might not see all of those smiles, but trust me, just look at those students in the eye. You can see their joy. It's very evident. Your contributions tonight are not only going to be supporting these students, but they're going to be supporting our future generations of dragon slayers, of riders in this program. So thank you so much for being here and supporting this amazing program. Our numbers keep climbing. We are well on our way. Remember, our goal tonight is to hit that $80,000 mark, and I really think we can do it. I keep seeing the numbers change, and it's very exciting. It's very exciting indeed. So I would like to introduce you to our fourth certified riding instructor, Miss Alicia Draper. She is the epitome of Camelot and what we are asking of all of our students, their involvement, the essence of what Camelot really is all about. When she came to the program, she came to us as a teen, and she rode in our program. And her life got busy with school. She graduated high school, went off to college, but she didn't forget about Camelot. And about a decade ago, the phone rang, and I picked it up, and it was Alicia. And she had asked me if she could become a volunteer. She was thinking about us, and she wanted involvement again. And I said, absolutely, come on out. So she worked side by side with our other ranch hands in the morning, helping with cleaning the facility. And it was while she was out there working that she shared with me that her real dream was to become a certified therapeutic riding instructor, and just like Eileen. So she joined our rider schedule. She needed to do some work before becoming a teacher. She needed to refresh her horsemanship skills. And I just can't tell you the immeasurable joy that I have knowing I was a part of her journey, a journey that is still unfolding. I know one day that Alicia's going to hear from one of the students that when they grow up, they want to be an instructor just like her. That day will come. Please let me welcome Alicia Draper. Enjoy her pre-recorded interview. I would like to introduce Alicia Draper. She is one of Camelot's certified therapeutic riding instructors and has a very long history with Camelot. Alicia, tell me about your certification process.
Well, like I said before to other people when I was explaining it to them after I finished, it was a long, drawn-out process, but it was well worth it. It took me about 9 years. I came back to Camelot when it was 2010, and then I finished in 2019, complete with my certification process. And I started with volunteering, coming back and volunteering for that portion. I was also a student when I was 12 to 18 years old, came back in 2010, and that's when I started the certification process. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do that was because Camelot's founder, Eileen Shahusky, was my mentor. I wanted to inspire other people with disabilities to live the most independent life. And a lot of those lessons I found out at Camelot myself as a student. So for me to become certified not only gave me the credential, but gave me the space and time to develop my skills as an instructor and to be taken seriously as a person with a disability in the equine industry. So this is my first, I have about 6 months into my teaching year because of what happened with COVID. But now I'm in my quote second year. So I'm learning every aspect of now becoming a teacher and honing my skills. And I absolutely love it. I love just being with people with disabilities and being here at Camelot if you ever come out to the facility, it's fully accessible. And I'm just able to help them learn to learn how to use their body to become independent. So it makes me feel really proud that, not to brag on myself, but there's not that many people with disabilities that are leaders in the community teaching. So I feel really proud and honored to have this certification. And Camelot, of course, Mary, Hannah, Christina, Rebecca. I mean, I can't even name all the volunteers that helped me in this process, all my instructors where I mentored. It's just been amazing, fulfilling process, and I'm so happy though that I'm finally certified and I finally get to put all my skills into practice.
Well, Camelot is absolutely lucky to have you on staff.
Thank you.
Hello everyone again. I hope you enjoyed that video, that interview with Alicia. I can tell you that when Eileen heard about her progress as she went from college graduate back to the student schedule, and then those dreams, that want and that desire to become an instructor herself, that Eileen was just over the moon excited. I kept her in the loop all through Alicia's process, and it certainly filled Eileen with a tremendous amount of joy. Earlier in the evening, you heard the stories from the Chronicles about the importance of mentoring. And, when we're out here teaching and these students are looking up to us, they want to emulate us. Alicia, the opportunities that she has to really inspire future writers, it's really rather amazing. The sky's the limit, and the lives and the families that she's going to impact are immeasurable. So we've had some more funding come in. I just got a notification that Nan and Tim Corwin just made a $5,000 contribution. So that's more than 2 student sponsorships. Thank you so much, Nan and Tim. Nan's an avid equestrian herself, and not only have they made financial contributions to the program, but they've donated equipment. We were the very lucky recipients of a gorgeous horse trailer that is a very necessary piece of equipment on a big horse ranch. So many thanks to the Corwins for their generosity and their support tonight. Thank you. It's really doing great things to our numbers. All right, I think it's time for me to pass the baton to the lovely Sasha again.
And I have more great news. I am watching the contributions come in on our auction site, our donations. Thank you to Kate again. Thank you, Peg. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Bonnie. This is a very fun seat to be sitting in tonight. I'm starting to understand, Gary, why you like to do this so much. If you are just joining us, my name is Sasha Graham, and I'm one of many volunteers here at Camelot. So I recently reviewed about 30 years worth of the Camelot newsletter, the Camelot Chronicles, and I found some beautiful pieces that I am lucky to get to share with you tonight. I love this next one because it includes first the perspective from the mom of a 12-year-old Camelot student, and then the perspective from the student herself. So this is called Monday, 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 and it is from the Spring/Summer 2006 Camelot Chronicles, and it was written by Beth Swain, Camelot mom. My name is Beth Swain, and my daughter Katie rides weekly at Camelot. Mondays have always been difficult for Katie because for 4 years, Mondays were her physical therapy day. The mornings were even worse. When I awakened her early for school, the first words out of her mouth were always, "Great. It's PT day again, isn't it?" Needless to say, it was a love-hate relationship. Katie needed the therapy, but was just plain sick and tired of it. Katie has a mild case of cerebral palsy, which mostly affects her legs. Physical therapy has been a huge part of her life since the age of 1. I am incredibly thankful for the wonderful and dedicated therapists who helped Katie through surgeries, Botox injections, and numerous growth spurts. About a year ago, however, our Scottsdale physical therapist suggested that it was time for Katie to move on because the clinic wasn't equipped to treat her any longer. Now what? I wondered. PT has been part of our weekly routine, and I couldn't see how Katie was going to get along very well without it. I was sure that her leg muscles would tighten up, her range of motion would decrease, and we'd be right back where we started a few years ago. And then Camelot came into the picture. Like many young girls, Katie has always loved horses. She had her first taste of equestrian life when she participated in a few summers of hippotherapy in Boulder, Colorado. Since our move to Arizona 5 years ago, she had asked me many times when she could start horseback riding again. We applied to Camelot and were thrilled to be accepted into the program last September. Since then, I feel like I'm living with a different child. Katie walks with a newfound sense of confidence. Her posture is better, and she is physically and mentally stronger. In fact, our physical therapist recently examined Katie and pronounced her more fit and limber than she had ever seen her. Whatever you're doing, it's working, she told us. Keep it up. Katie's riding, combined with 2 classes a week of hip-hop dance, has really made a difference. Not only is Katie learning horsemanship, but she is learning teamwork and trust. I, for one, am very intimidated by horses. Katie has no such fear and has learned to respect the magnificent creatures at Camelot. She also learns from and works with Michelle and the volunteers and understands that their talents and time make her riding possible. We all love Mondays now. So then, as promised, this next bit is actually by the daughter. Her name is Katie Swain. She was 12 years old at the time. My name is Katie Swain, and I just finished my first year at Camelot. When my family lived in Colorado, I had done a few summers of therapeutic riding when I was 3 or 4 years old. Since we moved to Arizona 5 years ago, I had been chomping at the bit, pun intended, to ride again. I was very excited about our interview at Camelot, but also a little nervous. I knew, though, the moment that Mary introduced me to the horses that I wanted to ride one of them more than anything. I jumped for joy when I was accepted into the program. Carrie takes her lessons at the same time as mine. We're close in age. As a seasoned veteran, Carrie shows me the ropes, like how to clean tack and put it away. The whole Camelot experience is fantastic, but my absolute favorite part is riding Bravo. At my first few riding lessons, I felt kind of ridiculous talking to Bravo, but you can pour your whole heart out to him and he'll never tell a soul. I've learned so many smart techniques from the instructors and volunteers. Sometimes we play games to help us learn something. For example, to help Carrie and me learn to guide the horses by holding the reins and steering with only one hand, we held spoons in the other hand while riding. Whoever kept their egg unbroken on the spoon the longest won. Camelot is an awesome place. It has boosted my confidence, taught me tons about horses and horsemanship, and showed me that I have what it takes to be a true Camelot hero. Now it seems a shame that Monday only comes once a week, because Camelot is like a delicious candy bar. Once you have a taste, you always want more. I can't wait for my second year to begin. So I started at Camelot as a ranch hand. And like many volunteers, I was trained by the wonderful Jim Schulte. On one of my first days, Mary was out in the wash area, and Jim had just taken the towels out of the washer and he hung them on the drying rack. Jim and I came around the corner, and Mary was very carefully refolding all of the towels that Jim had folded, or that he had already hung. She was folding them, tri-folding them, each one, and very carefully rehanging it on the rack. Jim just rolled his eyes and said, Jim just rolled his eyes, and you, Mary, said, "It's not for me. The towels are just happier being folded this way." It was a really funny, but also, it was a very funny moment, but it was also a little window into the precision and care that is taken with everything at the Camelot facility. Everything from the careful cleaning of the stalls and common areas to hanging bridles in the same place every single time. So again, I'm so lucky that I can ask Mary this question tonight, both for me and for all of you. Why is it so important that the Camelot facility is so clean and that everything is so precise, besides, of course, for the happiness of the towels?
Well, towels are certainly happier in that nice little trifold. When you look at the front of that bin and you can just see that folded edge, oh, it brings them so much joy. But you know, it's what we have, what we know, not what we have found, but what we know is that it's the hazards and the obstacles in our environment that really handicap us. And it's actually our visually impaired students that have been probably my greatest teacher as far as teaching me how to really keep this barn operating and running on a daily basis so that our students can get into the tack room, to the wash rack, where they have access to the sinks. In fact, I felt like I had to apologize to Rebecca the other day because she very greatly had washed the laundry and had the towels folded. I'm trying hard not to refold her towels, but she had it set in a place where a wheelchair couldn't gain access to the sink. So I pick up the wash rack and the drying rack and I move it over. But it's all about accessibility. It's all about independence. If a blind student walks into something, it just makes their life harder. And it's not always easy to remember. I am guilty myself. We did a field trip to Chaparral Veterinary Hospital. One of our Camelot Angel horses, Paladin, was being treated by Dr. Carpenter, and he needed a belly tap. And so we had taken him in. He had gastro issues, and we, in our very, very important way of prepping him for the doctor's appointment, we painted on him and we drew arrows to the exact location where we wanted the doctor to clip some hair.
It's never a bad idea.
No, it was like, here, on
Yeah,
his
it's sort
little
of that
tummy.
measure twice, cut once idea.
Yeah.
Paint twice, cut once.
So here we go, and we go into the big, huge, they've got this massive room where they do a lot of their testing inside the hospital. You go in and they've got garage doors that close down, so we bring the horse in and they have, what kind of looked like a wash rack where we were going to bring Paladin. And I had Caitlin McIntyre on my elbow, and I'm guiding her through the room, and I was so excited, like so many new things to see, that I failed to notice that there was an IV line hanging from the ceiling, because if you're putting an IV in a horse, you need to have that hanging and secured from above so that tubes don't get tangled. Well, I walked her right smack into it. So I'm like, I'm so sorry, Caitlin. So it certainly happens to all of us, but that is exactly why the barn looks as it does 7 days a week, year round, day in, day out, Monday through Sunday. My towels are folded neatly in a little container to keep them happy and to allow our students full accessibility to the entire ranch.
I do love that story. I should tell you that when we were prepping for tonight, that I was talking to my husband Alan about what we were going to talk about and how the evening was going to go, and he said, well, you have to tell the towels story. That was like your first day. That is a good story. The other one that he loves is that when I came for my interview with Michelle, one of the things that really surprised me was that the beautiful Paladin was just wandering around the facility. He wasn't in a turnout, and he wasn't in a stall. He was just walking around. And I mean, anybody who has seen K2 knows how big Paladin was, and it was just this enormous animal. And so I came in and they said, oh no, he's just our greeter. He just wanders around. And I said, well, that's amazing. And I want to move in here. And so then after my interview, I left and I made it about 400 yards down Jomax, and there was Paladin at the side of the road. And I was forced into this weird space of thinking, okay, he's a horse that wanders around, but this is too far, right? And I knew it was too far, but at the same time, I was the new guy, and I didn't know how Camelot worked. But in fact, I parked the car and brought him back, and everybody was very happy. I do want to announce that the auction will close in 15 minutes. And I also was just handed an extraordinary note that Janine and Robert Hellmond just donated $6,200. That is just extraordinary and is getting us ever closer to that goal. And that is just incredible. I just got more notes that Robin and Andy Ehrlich have made a contribution on the website. Thank you. And that Bonnie Trowbridge has made a contribution. This is truly a remarkable evening. I have one more article from the Camelot Chronicles to read to you tonight. And I think that it's one that every parent out there will be able to relate to. It speaks to the hopes and dreams that we have for our kids and to the magical connections that Camelot creates. It is from fall 2016, and it is called The Camelot Experience and was written by Beth Suarez. It also includes an editor's note that says, "This letter is a testimonial written at the conclusion of the 2015-16 lesson season and was reprinted with permission. Dear Camelot friends, I can hardly believe a second year of writing, fun, and friendship has come to an end. What an amazing 2 years it has been. As excited as I was when I learned that Diego had been accepted as a student at Camelot, the actual experience has far exceeded even my greatest hopes. Last year, at the end of the season, I wrote a letter thanking you and telling you about all of the wonderful ways Diego has been impacted by his time at Camelot. While all of that remains true for this year, that's not the focus of this letter. Diego's time at Camelot has been life-changing, but not just for him. That is the vantage point I want to share today. Diego has Williams syndrome. The Williams Syndrome Association's motto is unique challenges, extraordinary gifts. Some of Diego's gifts are that he is cute, friendly, and full of empathy. His challenges include gross and fine motor issues, cognitive impairment, and hyper-emotional reactivity. Diego is a Cub Scout, and I am his den mother. One reason I guided him to this activity was because all he really needed to participate fully were commitment and enthusiasm, both of which he has in spades. He loves Cub Scouts and is eagerly looking forward to next spring when he can become a Boy Scout. However, as this time approaches, I have been scared. Boy Scouts is not like Cub Scouts. While Cub Scouts is parent-led, Boy Scouts is scout-led. The troop he is preparing to join, Troop 131, prides itself on letting the boys make every decision. Diego's commitment and enthusiasm won't be enough for him to succeed in Boy Scouts without the patience, understanding, and help of the troop. He can't, for example, put up a tent by himself due to very poor fine motor control. It's a skill required of every Boy Scout. As I watched Diego's older brother navigate his way through the troop this year, I was worried. The troop does not coddle its new members. Have you ever experienced a moment when you knew God has stepped in and arranged for things to work out? I had such a moment this year at the Hooves and Heroes event. As luck would have it, Troop 131 has a special connection to Camelot and helps with this fundraiser every year. The pride on Diego's face as he talked to all of his future troopmates and told them about his Camelot adventures was moving. More importantly to me, I saw those boys really get it. Their service to Camelot had previously been to help a theoretical someone. When they realized that they would soon have the opportunity to help a fellow scout, I believe they all committed to that task wholeheartedly. Such is the nature of Camelot. It continues to move and inspire all who are involved, be they students, volunteers, or visitors. Camelot has taught Diego that his disability is simply a part of him, but it doesn't define him. It has taught Troop 131 the same lesson. The boys have communicated this week to Diego's older brother how much they are looking forward to having Diego as part of the troop. So as you probably know, I'm getting notes handed to me. We just received 3 more contributions. Kamala, for contribution for hay. Britt, $100 for a star. Thank you. Joyce Nolan came on board to help with helmets.
4 helmets.
My mistake. Joyce Nolan came on board for 4 helmets.
4 helmets.
And I am just absolutely thrilled and overwhelmed, and we just appreciate this so very, very much. As you probably know by now, the logo for our Starry Nights, I hope you can see this, is the incredible Dream Shooter. And the Dream Shooter has a unique history that I'm hoping that Mary can talk about a little bit.
Well, the Dream Shooter is a mythical so.
And you can actually make one of these mugs your very own. But you can purchase them on the site. They are both in prize packs and now can be purchased, I believe, a la carte as of now. So they are a fixed price item on the website. So get on there and get your own mug, and I promise you will love it as much as we do. So as you probably know by now, our theme for this year's Starry Nights is We Are All Camelot. We had a wonderful time collecting photos from Camelot supporters who purchased prize packs for this year's event and creating this year's video. The beautiful song that you'll hear was written by the incomparable Todd Herzog just for Camelot. So enjoy this year's keynote video once again.
This is where I come to overcome. This is where I feel like I belong. This is one of those transcending spaces. This is where I feel my life is stable. This is where I'm welcome at the table. This is where I'm not just one of many faces. When my soul needs something more, this is where my heart will soar. This is where my heart will soar. This is where I find nobility, where I discover my ability to rise to the challenges life has placed before me. This is where I find my family. This is where I find I'm truly free, surrounded by the people who adore me. When my soul needs something more, this is where my heart will soar. This is where my heart will soar. When I need to push my limits, getting stronger by the minute, I walk through that open door. This is where my heart will soar. 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 This is where I come to find myself. is where I come to offer help. This is where I'm not just one of many faces.
And once again, we're live, folks. So we are continuing to get contributions like crazy. Britt, I see that you contributed for a horse mani-pedi, which I think is amazingly awesome. Katie, thank you. I also, incredibly, thanks to the magic of technology, I'm getting texts while we're sitting here from people, and I know that tonight is, it is incredible that we're able to do this, but we also miss all of you very, very much. So for those of you who are out there who are texting me saying how much you missed the event, we do too. Sorry. All right. So, Mary.
We're both sniffing here. It's hard not to get emotional at a time like we're in right now, where things are so crazy. I'm overwhelmed by the support that we're seeing from the Camelot family, and it's a wonderful evening. I'd also like each and every one of you watching to know that when your dollars come into Camelot, those funding dollars go directly to our student programs. We have been, since inception, completely debt-free. We've never paid a penny in interest. When Eileen was actually out looking at properties and wanting to buy land, she raised funding first, and we purchased the land, and then we raised funding again to build the facility. So today we've been debt-free since day one, and that continues. It's a business practice that we are very proud of, and I love sharing that with our donors and supporters. My clock says it's 7:27. We might be down to just the final wire on our silent auction. So for those of you that love sneaking in at that last moment to place those bids, now is the time. I'm busy stirring the pot. We've got just a boatload of tickets. One lucky winner is going to receive this Echo Dot, and I have phone numbers on there, so hopefully we will capture the person at home and watching the event. Sasha, should we force the man out from behind the curtain and have Ray do the drawing?
If you can do it. There, it's just his hand.
Oh, wait, we got to see the hand. You got to roll over it. There, he's here. I love it. Okay, who is it? Jilly! Jilly Riesler, you are the official winner of the Echo Dot. It's one of our new parents. I'm super excited. I'm so excited. I want to call. Okay, so
you know what? I know she's watching because she's texting me. She's one of the ones who's making me cry. So, Jilly,
I'm calling her right now.
Mary is calling you right now. While she does that, I am going to remind everyone that while the
let me see if my cord. I know my cord will stretch and reach.
Hannah, if you're watching and can let me know if I may announce that, that would be great.
So, I've got Jilly on the phone. Ray, do you want to do? Oh, Lily's jumped in. Can you do the double screen?
Yes.
So Ray just flipped back over to the double screen. You are the winner. You are the winner. How fun! Thank you so much. I'm glad you were watching. This is great.
Tell her that I'll bring it to her. I'll deliver it.
And I've handed over your exciting new Echo Dot to the lovely Sasha. She says that she will deliver it to you. Well, tonight's your lucky night. So thank you for participating. Thank you for all of your support for Camelot. Tell her to look at the screen because I'm going to wave to her. Hi, Annabelle. I hear you. How fun. Okay, Ray's just motioned to me that we gotta finish closing out our night. Hug Annabelle for us, and congratulations. You're welcome.
And while she says goodbye, I have a couple of very important things to say. The first is that the site will be open. The silent auction is closing momentarily, if it hasn't already. It's closing now.
7:30.
But you will be able to make contributions for the next week.
You can see
And,
my pajamas when I went to the phone.
I am very, very excited and honored. Like I said, I'm getting texts while I'm sitting here, and I just got a text that Hannah's mom, Judy Brissot, is sending $10,000.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Which was absolutely worth all of you seeing Mary's pajama pants that she is wearing. So Judy, thank you very, very much. That is just extraordinary, and this has been an incredible night. Ray,
God.
where do we have the scoreboard that we can pull up?
So,
It's up.
That's not showing the Briso funds, so we can add another 10,000 to that. Holy cow. Judy, Mike, thank you so much. I just love those unexpected surprises, so thank you. Phone. What?
microphones were off.
The whole
Say
time?
that, no,
Oh.
just the last few minutes.
Oh, I just got told by Ray that my microphone was off. So anyhow, when I went to go answer the phone, I saw the feed a few moments later when I sat back down, and I could see
You got to announce
I
the
could see my
10,000.
my pictures. So what I am hearing is that Judy and Mike Briso's contribution of $10,000, the microphones were off when Sasha made that announcement. Judy and Mike, thank you so much. Absolutely amazing support and contribution to the program. Thank you. I'm overwhelmed. Oh gosh, I just saw the leaderboard. So we're at 77,000.
Oh my gosh.
We were really close to that $80,000 mark. Oh my gosh. What a great night. It does bring to mind that tomorrow morning, when you're having your morning coffee, I've got sparkling water in my mug right now. When you're having your coffee tomorrow morning and you're thinking about Camelot and you're thinking about this fundraiser and you've been inspired by the stories that you've heard and you've laughed a little and cried a little, just know that our auction bidding site is going to be open for several more days. So you can certainly still participate. I have no doubt that we're going to hit that $80,000 mark with the Camelot team behind us. We can do it. So share the site. Ask your friends to support a very deserving program.
2019.
What's that?
Starry Nights 2019.
Oh, yes. And for all of you out there, if you haven't seen enough great stories, at the end of what? Oh my goodness. I just saw a message. Robin and Andy Ehrlich have just pledged $2,500. Thank you, Robin. I want to pass this over to Sasha. I am.
It has been just an extraordinary evening, and I believe that puts us at the $80,000 mark, which was our goal for tonight.
Wow.
We are always completely happy to exceed our goals. So, and it's something that everyone at Camelot is very, very good at. So please, if you are inclined to make another donation, it would just be wonderful. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. And to play us out tonight, we are going to play the 2019 keynote video from Starry Nights. Please enjoy.
Camelot Therapeutic Horsemanship is a curriculum-based horseback riding program for children and adults who have physical disabilities. This is our 36th lesson season. We're the oldest therapeutic riding program in the Valley, and since inception we have operated debt-free and we've never charged for our services. We are honoring a pledge made to our founder, Eileen Shahusky. She made a promise to her mentor, Joseph Rivers, that she would give the services away just as she had received them while riding as a student of his in California at a program called Dragon Slayers. Camelot is a magical place. From what I hear from our families over time is that this program has made lasting impressions on their family. And the lessons that they've learned here in the barn carry over into their daily lives, and the joy, the freedom, the friendships that develop in addition to learning about horses and how to ride and care for these animals is just absolutely amazing. All of these components come together and create an environment that is healing and soothing to the soul and spirit, and I think just makes Camelot absolutely magical for our families.
I am Patrick Bonner and I am 21 years old. I had a stroke when I was 10 months old and it affected my ability to walk. I mean, I didn't really view my disability as a struggle. I try to live a normal life. So, I mean, I just try to participate in everything that I can to the best of my ability.
Patrick has no limits on what he can do. We worked for many years on strengthening him through physical therapy and occupational therapy. When he was about 7, he began horseback riding and found a couple of programs that were decent but didn't really do a lot for him until we found Camelot.
I love Camelot. I love everything about it. I love how it's such an inclusive community. I love getting to know everyone there. I love horses. So at first it was kind of scary and difficult because I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing. But with the help of Mary and everyone else there, it's definitely given me strength and the ability to be independent, which definitely allows me to experience more of the world. I've been unable to walk my entire life, and it's almost like kind of like walking for me, being able to control where I go without the aid of technology. All my life I've kind of been babied and treated as lesser than I am, but Camelot I was treated as a person who is able to struggle and figure it out for themselves.
When you donate to Camelot, it really does change lives. As a mother of a special needs child, we look for programs that our children can participate in and are welcoming and inclusive, and Camelot provides their lessons at no charge, which to many families is such a blessing. The students at Camelot really inspire you. They may have specific special needs, they may be blind, they may have a limb missing, they may have the inability to walk, but they are up there on a horse, and when you see that, it is so inspiring because they've really overcome a fear. We've experienced firsthand Patrick benefiting both physically and emotionally from the program, and he wouldn't be where he is without Camelot.
So I go to University of San Diego. I am studying mechanical engineering. I am involved in ministry. I'm an engineering fraternity, and I've done a lot of engineering projects in my free time. Coming out of Camelot and being where I am right now has been definitely a worthwhile experience. I'm going to graduate college in a year and a half. Ultimately, I would like to be able to work for maybe Boeing or Chrysler, making their planes or cars more efficient through engineering. Thank you to Camelot and everyone there, Mary, Hannah, Sharon, Michelle, everyone. It means so much to me. Camelot's a great experience, and definitely helps me out in my life. Thank you for everything that you've done for me.
I'm Evan Richardson. I'm 17 years old. During my youth, I was in the hospital, in and out. It varied between a year to a couple of years between surgeries, but they were big ordeals. And so it was really nice to get, actually interact with the world sometimes, because a lot of the times I was in a state of limited ability.
Evan and Yale were born 13 weeks early, and we spent a little over 3 months in the NICU. At the time, we were aware that there'd be some global delays, maybe some medical challenges, but it wasn't until they were just shy of 2 years old that we understood that they had cerebral palsy. As a family, we are riders. I grew up with horses. We're from Iowa. And before we moved to Arizona, I did a little bit of research and found Camelot online and contacted Mary. And at the time, both of our boys were too young to participate and kind of fell outside the boundaries of the definition of therapeutic riding. But Mary, being as flexible and spontaneous as she is, said, just come, introduce yourselves, let's set up a little meeting. And actually had hippotherapy on the front end. That was our starter kit to Camelot.
It gave me the opportunity to use my body in a non-confined way. It gave me confidence to interact with space, because it breaks the perception in regards to someone's disability.
I think it has helped our family in so many ways. Clearly, physically, the boys have benefited in hundreds of ways, from stability to strength to confidence. And as parents, it's a really exciting thing when you can participate in a program that doesn't feel clinical. It puts you out in the environment and it's fun. The horsemanship responsibility, the grooming, the relationship building with the animal, and that is an independent piece that they had never been even asked of before. My kids had never been told that they actually had a role or a job to do. And it was the first place that they had to take ownership for their experience. We've had years of therapy. We've seen so many different methodologies and really good practitioners do their thing. And just that very first time, I just remember crying, just bawling, going, okay, we're in the right spot. We're here.
What I like about Camelot is the philosophy in terms of choice, I think. It allows some form of exploration. What it also gives is just a way to be human in some regard. And I think it really breaks that mindset of this systematic, functional, practical form of physical fitness. Because it's not just to ride this horse so your legs get, straighter or whatever you're dealing with. It's also develop a bond with the horse, groom it, etc. I think it provides a different kind of outlook towards physical improvement and really change your perspective on life.
My name is Bridget Corn and I'm 8 years old. I like to do things by myself so I can get stronger.
Bridget was 6 years old and she played soccer, and she was at soccer practice and she was kicked between the shin guard and the cleat. She came running to me screaming, and I, proud mom moment, told her to rub some dirt on it and go back into practice. And that following Saturday she was limping while she was running in the soccer game. Afterwards I asked her why she was running like that, and she said that her legs still hurt from soccer practice on Tuesday. That following Monday we wound up in the doctor's office, and just 10 days later Bridget was diagnosed with an aggressive bone cancer called osteosarcoma. I looked her in the eye and I told her she was strong and she was a fighter and that we were going to beat this. Bridget underwent 10 weeks of chemotherapy, followed by amputation of her right leg below her knee, and then another 30 weeks of terrible treatment and chemotherapy. During that time, Bridget was able to become cancer-free, which was amazing, but she had her battles. She has a blood clot in her heart. She has permanent hearing loss. She has osteoporosis, and in fact, she's broken her femur twice. Camelot has been amazing for Bridget. It allowed her the first time to be free after her cancer treatment. It allowed her for the first time to go someplace where she could be Bridget again and not the child who had cancer. From the first time she walked in the doors, they let Bridget do it herself and enabled Bridget to show her strength, and enabled Bridget to get on the horse and ride for herself and be strong again. and be Bridget without being the little girl who had cancer.
What I love about Camelot is the horses. You have to groom them and then get all their stuff, and then they take you up a ramp and then they lift you over the horse. And then you gotta get on and then you gotta go ride.
Bridget has battled through so much, and I have no doubt in my mind that she will continue to shine bright. She is going to do some pretty amazing things, I think. Camelot has shown her that she can be independent and strong and do things on her own, and for other people to see what Bridget's been through and how strong she is, I'm just so proud, and I'm so excited that somebody else sees how strong she is and how proud they are of her.
There are so many ways that you can become involved with this program. Because we don't charge for our services and we don't receive government or state funding to cover the expenses to run the facility, our donations that come in from families, from foundations, corporations, it really goes a long way to allow us to provide the highest quality classes and services to our students and provide the outstanding care that our four-legged instructors, our therapy horses, to give them the care that not only do they need, but that they have earned. When you make a donation to Camelot, you truly have taken a seat at our round table, and you are helping us slay dragons one ride at a time. And once you come through the gates, trust me, you are never going to want to leave. I invite you to come and just see for yourselves the magic that is Camelot.